Hello everyone and welcome back. In the previous video, we have learned how to create our WebRTC client, but in this one, we are going to create our main repository. So I'll create my main repository Kotlin class, and it's going to be injectable. So I'll create an inject and constructor for it. It's going to inject our socket client and our WebRTC client and JSON. So the next thing is our main function, which is init, and we will take a username as a string, a surface view of type surface view renderer. So first thing, let's store our username and our surface view like this, and surface view is equal to surface view. So after that, I want to create two functions init sockets with a username and init RTC or web RTC clients using username as well, or we can just remove all of them since we do have a reference to them. Okay, right here, first I want to set the listener to this class. Let me see, just like that. Go to this and let my main repository implement the new message received, and then I'll just use init function to initialize my socket, so the username. And same for WebRTC clients. To do that, I'll use my WebRTC client dot listener is equal to this and implements on transfer event to socket. You can use just socket client that send message to socket and pass data to it. So we will just transfer the data that is derived from WebRTC clients and pass it to socket client to send to WebSocket server. And after that, I will initialize my WebRTC clients using username, surface view, and an object of my peer observer class, which I'll introduce anonymously. And inside here, I'll override on ICE candidate and on connection change and on add stream. Let's call them here init socket, then init WebRTC client, and inside on new message received, which is a listener for our WebSocket client, I'll check the type using when statement, then model.type, and I don't need sign in here, and I'll just create an else block of type unit, and for all of it I'll decide that what happens. So whenever we receive the start streaming, first we want to store our target like this. So the target or this.target is equal to model.username. So the username that is sending us start streaming is going to be our target. And after that, we want to notify the UI, notify UI connection request is being made. So show it. In case of end call, notify UI call is ended. And in case of offer, we want to use WebRTC client and on remote session received and pass it to our WebRTC client. So I'll create a session description of type session description type offer, and the value is going to be model.data to string. And in case of receiving answer, also you do have to store the target here, since you're receiving the response from the guy that is receiving start stream. So it means you receive start stream, you send an offer to your target. So in case that you sent this, you will realize who is your target. So we will store our username as the target. And in case of answer, we just want to set this as our remote session. So I'll create a session description of type answer, and the value is going to be model.data to string. And in case of receiving nice candidate, first we want to convert it using our JSON library. So let's catch any exception of converting or deserializing and return null. And here we want to use JSON. From JSON, pass model.data to string, and use isCandidate from org.webrtc class.job. So we can see it's an isCandidate which is nullable. So after that we'll check if candidate is not null, use WebRTC client and add it to our peer connection using add isCandidate. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so it's time to create our listener for our service that is going to observe the events. It's going to have 4 functions. First one is on connection request received, which will have a target of string. The next one is on connection connected to notify UI, and the next one is on call end received, and the last one on remote stream added, and give it an stream of type media stream. Let's declare it as a global variable listener of type listener, and it's going to be null initially. And let's move back to our initialize WebRTC client function. And here, whenever our peer connection generated an isCandidate, first we want to add it to our peer connection and then send it to our target. So using WebRTC client, I'll use send isCandidate function, which includes both of add and send candidates, and pass our p0 to it. Let's wrap it with a null check, and as a target I'll just give the target to it like that. And here, whenever a new state is being triggered, you want to check it if new state is equal to peer connection dot connection state that's connected, then our connection is connected. So I'll use this listener to notify the service that hey, our connection is connected now. And whenever a media stream is added, I'll use the listener and on remote stream added and pass it to him. Also, let's run it with a null check. So right here I also forgot that fix this one first, and then after adding an offer as a remote description, we want to answer to that call. So using target would do it. So right now we need to create some functions to interact with our UI. The first one is send screen share connection. It's going to need a target, and using our socket client we will send a message to the socket that hey, there's a data model of type start streaming, and the username is going to be username, target is going to be target, and the data is going to be null. The next one is when we receive this connection and we accept it, we create a function start call with the target, and using WebRTC client we just press call to send the offer to the target that sends the connection request. So we create another function for the sender, for the first peer that wants to start the stream to share his screen. So let's create a function start screen streaming and give a surface view to it, and we use WebRTC client to start screen streaming or start screen capturing. Let's rename it as well. We also do need a function send called ended to other peer, which we will use socket client to send message with a data model of type endCall. Username of username targets is equal to targets, and the data also is null. And two more functions left. First one is restart repository. We will use WebRTC client to restart, and the last one on destroy, which will call on destroy on both socket clients that I think I've created private, or I didn't create it. Fun on destroy is going to just close the WebSockets out. Locking, call on destroy here, and WebRTC at close connection. And the last one is we need a function to set permission intent to WebRTC client, just like that. It will get an intent of type intent, and using WebRTC set permission intent and pass the intent to it. So that's it for this video. On the next video we will start to create our service and use it and run our application. Till the next video, see you ever.